From now on, you will attend strictly to your work and stop writing trash. What? Is that the bad exchange for a job?
A very bad exchange, Monsieur Larue.
Here is your pay, up to the end of the month. Get out.
I'm very grateful to you, Monsieur Larue,
What?
for allowing me to devote all my time to my writing.
Then go ahead with your scribbling. And maybe a lean stomach will teach you better.
But a fat stomach sticks out too far, Monsieur Larue. It prevents you from looking down and seeing what's going on around you. While you continue to grow fatter and richer, publishing your nauseating confectionery, I shall become a mole, digging here, rooting there, stirring up the whole rotten mess where life is hard, raw, and ugly. You will not like the smell of my books, Monsieur Larue. Neither will the public prosecutor. But when the stench is strong enough, maybe something will be done about it. Dick.
The pod bay doors are open. Welcome once again. I'm your host, Jerry Dean Roberts of ArmchairCinema.com. Seated here with my fellow SJW, the critic, dare I say legend, from where the hell are you from? TalkMovieToMe.com. Mr. Doug Heller, how the heck are you today, sir?
Life is tricky.
And indeed it is. Indeed it is.
We're doing the life of Emile Zola, and
Yeah.
That is probably the shortest sentence he says.
And we're doing this.
My other option is book. I never read books.
Well, today's movie is, I don't know, it's a strange film. This is the 10th film to win the Oscar for Best Picture. And it's about a social justice warrior, when that wasn't, decades before that was even a term.
Right.
We're talking about Emile Zola, who defied a lot of norms going on in his native France, wherein he was being warned to lay off at a time when his voice was being heard. He was a journalist. He was a novelist, actually. And he wrote about what he felt. And
he wrote about what he saw.
Mm-hmm.
And what he experienced and what he learned from other people's experiences. He throughout a lot of his career was quite fearless.
Mm-hmm. And in the movie he is too.
In the movie he is too. He was he broke through with his first novel called Nana, about a prostitute. It was
that, according
scandalous.
to the movie, he met in a pub when she was running from the cops.
Right.
Who he never could figure out her name.
Yeah. Nope.
Because she kept changing it.
Yeah. Well, I'm this here, and I'm this over in Montmartre, and I'm this over in there. And,
where are you from? Well, she names off several places.
Yeah. She's a prostitute. She's from everywhere and nowhere.
Mm. At a time when they would just round up women who were out in the street.
Yeah, regardless.
The police would round up women. Well, if you're on the street after this certain time, then
without a man accompanying you,
then you must be, a sex worker. You must be out there plying your trade, not really understanding and not realizing that,
or caring
that a lot of women, and this is true today, a lot of women who are in prostitution are doing so because they're living in dire poverty.
Yeah, it's not. The onset of things like OnlyFans and Just for Fans and all that kind of stuff has changed it, but for the most part, people don't look at the world and go, "I want to be a porn star."
Right.
I mean, past maybe being 18 or 20.
Well, the money is a draw. The money is a draw.
Yeah. But that only comes if you make it huge and you have to be bigger than big now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know.
And the shit you got to put up with.
And sometimes literally deal with.
Yeah. But he listens to her story. And, well, I mean, the story, let's back up a second, because the movie is in two parts, really. It's the title is a misnomer. The title is The Life of Emile Zola, but that's about half of it. Because it starts, the first half is about the building and sort of the cresting of his career from the time that he's a young man with a fire in his belly until he retires.
Right.
And he's living, and I did not know this until I saw the movie, his roommate is Paul Cézanne, the Impressionist painter. And they're living in this drafty attic apartment, and they're hiding from the landlord, and they're doing things that, you know, just and they're so idealistic, as you are when you're young. But they're so idealistic, even in the dire circumstances that they're living in. So Zola knows something about poverty. He knows something about what it's like to go a couple of days without a meal.
Yeah, he didn't come from the aristocracy.
No.
He earned his position amongst the elite through his work, which at that point in history is actually a very rare thing among the literati.
Right.
People who actually broke a novel and came up that weren't already in society. It didn't happen as much as we want to believe that it did. There's a reason why most novels from that time are about rich people.
Yeah.
Because rich people were writing them.
They're about pretty things.
Yeah.
And if you read a lot of even books by English writers, you're reading about the aristocracy, the people on the upper you read the people in the upper class.
Yeah.
And then there's Dickens.
Yeah.
Literally
that
writes
man,
from the ground up.
I don't think that man ever wrote a happy word.
No. Zola becomes a writer, and he's hired. His wife or his fiance, played by Gloria Holden.
Yeah, girlfriend at the time.
Dracula's daughter.
Yes.
Gets him a job working in a bookshop, and he's able to write. But the cops keep coming and telling his boss he can't be writing this stuff because he's writing about he's basically opening the wound for all to see of poverty and degradation and the blunders from the top that are making these things possible.
Yeah.
And his boss is this little fat man who just shows him the door, and he says, maybe a lean stomach will... He fires him. He says, maybe a lean stomach will teach you a thing or two. He says, yes, but a fat stomach keeps you from seeing what's going on beneath your feet.
Yeah.
And he says,
which is exactly what happens to him later in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
The movie is actually filled with premonition, like marking out. There's a word for it that is completely leaving my mind now, but like when he's like, oh, close the. He's trying to stop up the drafts, and there was a mention that he was like. He said, oh, make sure you seal up all the windows tight, and they make a mention of him wanting to avoid a draft, when in fact he did die of carbon monoxide poisoning because he did not have a window open, and he had a stopped up chimney or a faulty
the flue wasn't working.
Pipe. Yeah. And so everything kind of came back down in and came out some holes in the pipe, and
that's what killed him.
So there was a level of irony to his death as well. He was always fighting against these drafts.
He is dismissed, and this movie's not subtle at all. It's a lot of it's like a stage play.
Well, here's the thing.
This is made in 1937 by Warner Brothers.
William Dieterle was one of the
director.
stalwart directors that made some damn fine pictures that never got an ounce of credit for what they did. He was a German immigrant, started as an actor, and then moved to directing, and then came over here in the early 30s after directing silent and sound pictures in Germany, and leaving right around when the troubles in Europe began.
Which I will get to later, because that's in the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
But in the first half, he's basically getting known for books that nice rich people don't buy. There's a scene where there's a man who buys a copy of Nana, and he stuffs it in his coat.
And then his wife was like, "Oh, I quite wanted a copy of Nana." He's, "No, we mustn't read such terrible things."
Nice women don't read such things.
Nice people don't read such things, and he pushes her, and she orders one to be sent to the house.
Yeah, she goes back in to get her umbrella. Yeah,
she's gonna get it anyway, and he's gonna read it, and this is one of those. You almost wish that the movie focused on his rise and the writing of the novel, and there is a story to be told there.
Yeah.
In the scandal around the publication of Nana. It's not the story that this movie wants to tell, though.
Right. It kind of backs. It shorthands the rise of his career. Into he writes about, of course, this is a man, and I said this last week, this is a man who really seems to have had a hard time finding a hill to die on, because he writes about everything. He writes about mining conditions, he writes about poverty, and he sees these things. There's a scene when he's right after he gets fired from the bookshop. He goes down to the river, and there's a suicide, and that woman dies.
You there! Hold on! Hold on!
Stop yelling and let her sleep.
A woman just jumped into the river.
She's better off than all these.
Yeah.
And the guy says, well, let me jump in and save her. And he says, she's better off than these. And he waves his hand, and you just see this gutter.
Just this wave of just the most unfortunate dregs of humanity.
People lying on the river bank, on the banks of the River Seine, who are just penniless, hopeless. They have nothing, and they are just living in absolute down to nothing.
And almost worse is that had he jumped in, he would have died too, because the current of the Seine, especially in Paris, that runs through Paris, takes you down. If you jump in the middle of it from a bridge, you're gone.
Yeah.
The undertow will drag you, and you are dead. Nobody survives that. If there are, it's very, very few who have ever survived a jump into the Seine. Especially then, when they still bled people and you could die from a cold.
And he kind of out of that backs into an accident.
safety door's closed.
Safety doors? They don't waste money on safety doors.
Hey, you! Get away from here and stay away.
It takes place at a mine where there's an explosion, and he asks one of the workers, it's like, why didn't they close the safety doors?
Why didn't the safety doors close? And he goes, we don't waste money on things like safety doors.
Yeah. It's like safety doors, and the police
The
that are
firefighter
there,
was like, why would there be safety door? What are you talking about, safety doors?
and the policeman just pushes him away, and it's like,
Yeah.
he's seeing all of this.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
he's making this up or hearing rumors or gathering. No, he's watching this happen.
Yeah.
And he says, I have to write about it.
Yeah.
And he does. He writes a series of books. And they're all... But here's the problem. Probably the hardest thing to do is to write a script, a screenplay, about a writer.
Which, I mean, kudos, because they actually won an Oscar for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean...
It's
you
hard
gotta-
to do.
It
And
is.
the weirdest scene in this movie is when they're showing his books. And they're showing the
And it
title.
was just like piling up as one after the other and
Yeah,
after
they're
the
on
other
this
and
little
after the
track,
other.
and
It's
their
like,
books are moving. And
it's like, are they really so inconsequential that you're not even going to talk to us about how they got written and why and what they're about?
you don't even know what they're about.
It's like,
I had to look it up.
the only ones you get are Nana and the what was the military one that they were first
Downfall.
bitching about the downfall about the War of 1870,
The Franco-Prussian War,
which was a ludicrous thing anyway.
the French military came home with bruises on their asses. I mean, it was just humiliating.
Oh yeah.
And he
And
wrote a
it's-
detailed account of what happened.
It's also worth to mention, we brought up Dickens, they are writing at the same time. Thereabouts.
They're writing about the same time, yeah.
Victor Hugo, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, he becomes very famous for what he's doing. He becomes very, very famous for this. And pretty much just irritates the military and the government, just irritates the crap out of all of them, because he's exposing problems that really need to be addressed.
And that the military knows are there, but because of their overweighted sense of superiority and duty and propriety, they don't want to address any of it because it might look bad.
Yeah.
It was like,
It's embarrassing.
what's more embarrassing, getting changing things to make it better, or getting caught knowing that there was something you could do and not do
And
it?
didn't do it because of your position. Well, it ends with him. He becomes so famous. He has a child. He has children. He gets married. He becomes famous, and you see the house that he's living in, and it's this huge, beautiful, overly decorated house. And he's having dinner, and he goes into the study with Paul Cézanne, and Cézanne walks away.
Yeah.
You know, he walks out of Zola's life because he says, that fire that you had in your belly, it's gone. It's not even smoking anymore.
Yeah.
You gave up.
He became complacent.
Mhm.
Because
He became
got-
very comfortable.
He got really rich,
Mhm.
and he stopped having to worry about things. He stopped seeing the things that he had been writing about strictly because he no longer saw it.
Mhm.
Because he had elevated to the position of a grand man of letters, and he didn't see the gutter anymore.
Mhm.
You know,
And sort of the first act of this movie ends with him sitting on the couch with his wife and just, oh well,
Yeah.
it's my life. And then it moves into the second part,
Yeah.
which is all about the Dreyfus affair,
Yes.
which is something I have always found fascinating. This story, if you don't know, we're going to run through it very briefly. Basically, what happened was the French military, there was a discovery quite by accident that one of their top officers was
A member of the general staff.
was sent a letter to the German embassy in Paris that proved that somebody, and I think they all know who it was. Somebody in the general staff was sending a letter over to the embassy that proved that he was a traitor.
Yes, that most of the things in the downfall that Zola accused the military of
Were proven
getting wrong were proven to have been all the fallout from this guy's treachery.
Mhm.
And they back themselves into knowing about it. They look at a few names. They find one that's foreign born and everything, but his father fought in the French military, in the French army.
His name was Esterhazy.
Yes, he's above reproach. And so what about this other guy who we don't know anything about? How did he get onto the general staff? Well, it must be him.
Well, he was an artillery. He was an
Yeah.
artillery officer.
He's like, oh, well, it must be him. Really? Why? Well, because we decided it was.
They
It
look
was
at
like-
a book,
Here's the thing.
and they point very briefly to one word: Jewish.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you this. The movie originally leaned very hard on this, but I'm in the middle of reading a wonderful book called The Collaboration: Hollywood's Pact with Hitler.
I just saw something about that particular book.
And actually, I'm reading it right now, and by Ben Irwand, and he talks about how Jack L. Warner, who was Jewish, was having to deal with top Nazi censors.
Yeah, so, and basically had everything but that one frame, that one shot.
And it's very, very brief.
Everything else about his religion was stricken so that it wouldn't affect ticket sales in Nazi Germany.
Right. Well, it wasn't just Nazi Germany. It was the fact that they didn't want to lose the European market because the Nazis were taking over countries one by one by one.
Didn't France ban it until like 1952?
Yes. And they were trying to... So they make this one tiny little mention. You see it in a book. As they're running down the list, it says religion, and next to religion it says Jewish. And it's very, very brief.
No, it says religion, Jew. Like,
right.
Not even Jewish.
They go through the process, and you see him. He's played by an actor named Joseph Schildkraut, who won an Oscar for this.
Yes.
And
his only nomination.
And it was the second actor ever to win Best Supporting Actor. And
this was the first movie Best Picture winner to have a Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
Win.
Paul Muni did not win, by the way. That was Spencer Tracy for Captain's Courageous.
Yeah, his first of two back-to-back.
But you're introduced to Dreyfus as he's in his living room and he's playing with his children.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got two beautiful children. He's got a beautiful wife, and he's got this sparkling, not remarkable but a very admirable military career. He is dedicated to his service. He is dedicated to France, and they railroad this man.
Yeah.
And because they bring him in and they trick him into writing a letter, dictating a letter.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he writes the word, I think it's the word artillery, something like that.
Yeah.
As soon as he writes that, they arrest him because they say, well, the handwriting matches.
And they don't compare it.
They don't compare it at all. Now, here's something the movie doesn't tell you. He went to trial, quote unquote.
Yeah.
His trial was very, very, very brief. It was behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
There were no reporters.
Of course not.
Everything. It was a trial. It was a trial by fire. They pushed him through. It was kind of like on Futurama when they they tried Zap Brannigan for destroying Duke headquarters, and the jury goes out and comes right back in. That's kind of what Dreyfus's trial was. It's just they railroaded this man using flimsy evidence, and they put in the press this man is a traitor. He hates France. He's destructive to the future of France, and they pushed that really hard. No one disbelieved it, and
Except his wife.
wife.
It was like
Dreyfus.
And him. He maintained through years of confinement on a desert island.
No, he's on Devil's Island,
Devil's
French
Island.
Guiana.
He's under heavy guard.
Listen, the hardest scene in this movie to watch, the scene that absolutely breaks my heart, is when they are removing his stripes.
Oh, when they're completely ripping apart his uniform.
They pull him out into the public square so all the world all of France can see, and they start ripping the stripes off of his pants. They destroy his hat. They pull it. I mean, they break his sword in half, and they parade him in this ripped up uniform in front of the public. You know, here's your traitor, and he's like, "I've done nothing wrong. I'm an innocent man. I love France." And they ship him off to Devil's Island, which, if you don't know Devil's Island, if you've ever seen the movie Papillon,
yeah,
that movie takes place on Devil's Island. It was one of the most notorious prisons in the world. It was in French Guiana, which is in South America.
Africa.
Is it in Africa? I thought it was in South America. They ship him off. This prison, you are either going to die by the intense heat, disease, violence from other prisoners. I think 90% of all prisoners died there. The only reason that he survives is because they do not put him with the general population. They build a blockhouse just for him.
Right.
And it's on the coast, and the only people he ever sees are his guards.
Right.
He has no communication with the outside world ever, except for, I think, a care package that he gets from his wife.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just humiliation on top of humiliation.
Yeah.
And I forget who it is. Is it Saison? They start to build a case because this officer in the general staff, Picard, figures out that it was Esterhazy that was the traitor. He takes it to the higher-ups, and immediately Picard is sent off to Tunisia.
Yeah.
They cart his ass off to Tunisia to keep him quiet.
Yep.
And it starts to be known that Esterhazy was a rat.
Yeah.
And I forget how, but the wife figures it out. And she's the one who goes to Zola.
Mm-hmm.
Zola wants no part of it.
Right.
He's comfortable. He's got his retirement and his books. He's fine. I don't want any part of this. And I love it because he sits down because she appeals to the nature of what he was before he retired. And he sits down and he sees a picture of Cezanne, and he remembers what he said to him, and he's like, all right, fine.
Yeah. Pretty much. And apologies for my bad geography.
It was...
absolutely correct. And to this day...
Yes, it was in South America.
Yes. And the Maison d'Alfred Dreyfus is still marked on the map.
Is it?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I'm looking at it right now. Okay. It's this little square in the southwestern portion of the island, of the teensy little island.
It's a tiny little island, and he was there for 5 years.
Yeah.
While they're trying to figure out how, because the military court will not allow the case to be retried.
That case is closed.
Yeah, they keep saying
We've
that.
already done that.
Yeah. And they go through all of this just trying to prove his innocence.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they could have... Because this thing was an embarrassment to a French military that had just had their asses handed to them.
Yeah.
By the Prussians. So, I mean, that on top of this. And they're working very, very hard to get him out, and they finally pull Zola into this. Zola writes an open letter that makes him a pariah in France. Called, and this is where this word comes from, he titles it J'accuse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what pulls him back into the case. And he makes this big fancy speech at the end, and he gets Dreyfus. Fully exonerated.
Mm-hmm.
Not only exonerated, but the day after he is exonerated and brought back from French Guiana, he gets a promotion.
He's reinstated into the army, and he gets a promotion to commandant.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah.
And I love it when they bring him the news, because he doesn't know why they're there.
Right.
And they come in and they say, they come in and basically tell him, the decision has been reversed. A boat will be here in a few hours, and he's just standing there.
Out.
He's just standing there, just like
yeah.
He doesn't know what to say, and and they open the door, and they leave, and he starts running back in and back out, because he's so excited. And
wouldn't you be?
Oh my God! And he wakes up every day. He doesn't know what's going to happen.
Right.
He woke up that day, and they handed him his walking papers, and he went back home.
Mm-hmm.
And he served well in the military. He served in World War I. He never recovered.
No.
From his time physically, never recovered from his time in French Guiana. And apparently those wounds are still with him when he died. But it's a great story.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a great story. And the one thing the movie does not get right is right at the end, the movie says that basically Zola died on the same day that he was exonerated. That is
that's not what happened.
That is not true.
No.
It also makes the movie feel a little off balance at the end, but Zola is celebrated, Dreyfus is celebrated, and Vive la France.
Yes.
But I want to ask you this: which part of the movie were you engaged with the most?
Probably most of it. The parts that didn't really have anything to do with Zola. were probably not to take away from Muni's performance, because he is very good here, and he.
Well,
I've
I'll say
never-
this: he gives a
I've
much
never
better
been-
performance. He gives a much better performance here than he did the year before, because the year before he won the Oscar for playing Louis Pasteur,
Yeah,
and in that, you already know what the struggle is.
yeah,
Before you even start watching the movie, you already know what his struggle is,
mm-hmm.
and you don't really have. And I said this in my video about on the Great Ziegfeld when I talked about that movie, is that when you watch that movie, it feels like something you would have been shown in biology class.
Yeah.
Here, it's a little more surprising, and he has, I think, more of an uphill climb. Zola does.
Yeah, I think his portrayal is really good, and I've never really been on the Paul Muni wagon.
I haven't either.
I've recently seen Black Fury, which is a misnomer because there's not a black person in it. It's about coal mining, and I'm taken with his fascination of accents when he really shouldn't be doing accents.
Right. Well, he doesn't really have an accent here.
He sort of half tries one. My favorite performance of his is I Was a Fugitive from a Chain Gang.
My favorite is Scarface.
Well, there's also that, yes.
I love Scarface.
Those two are probably my favorite performances of his, and probably his two best movies.
I recently saw, again, going back to my video on Great Ziegfeld, I actually saw The Good Earth.
That's an amazing picture.
It's an amazing picture, but there's a lot of fog you got to get through.
Yeah.
In the fact that 90% of the actors in the movie are not Chinese.
Yeah.
Including Paul Muni and
Louise
Reiner, who won the Oscar for it.
Yes.
Which it's
Excellent
really
performance,
it's
but-
really a great silent performance, because she doesn't
Yeah.
say that much, and it's a problem when she does speak, because when she speaks, she's trying to affect a Chinese dialect, but you can hear her Austrian accent.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful performance, but
Yeah.
you've got to get through the fog of this.
Yeah. Of just the simple fact that there is not a single Asian among them, let alone
They
a
wanted Ada
Chinese
Wong to
person.
play that, but they wouldn't allow it
Yeah.
because they thought it would hurt the box office.
Yeah.
But
She should
Paul
have been
Muni,
in it though.
Paul Muni, I will never say he's my favorite actor.
No. I've never disliked one of his performances.
Same.
Like I think
Same.
he's always been a solid actor, but for me he never transcended. Like he always seemed to play basically the same part in basically the same way with a different accent.
He's playing the script,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Yeah, he
actors.
never really plays a character. He plays the scripts.
He's always playing the script, and he
Method actor he was not.
Yeah. The only time I ever did not feel him playing the script was in Scarface,
Yeah.
because that's a big bombastic performance, and it's unlike probably anything else that he ever played in his entire career.
Right, and it's his most successful accent.
It is. Even though he was Russian-born.
Yes.
But this is a good performance. It's a good performance for the time,
Yeah.
because it's a lot of speech making.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the man monologues so much. If he should have been a Bond villain, if he wasn't.
Well, you can't have a social justice warrior who makes a career out of writing about the injustices in France without having a monologue.
Right.
It's impossible to do that. But he does a serviceable job.
He does.
He does. I wish this had been two different movies.
Yeah. It could have been The Life of Emile Zola and
Then the Dreyfus Affair.
The Dreyfus Affair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it definitely tried to cover too much ground.
Yeah.
It's a well-written screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
It brings everything together. It knits the two pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
But you can definitely tell that it was not the work. It was the work of, let me see here, 3 screenwriters and 2 story. 2 of the story people were also credited with the screenplay.
Yeah.
But it was the ampersand, which means that each individual person wrote it individually.
Yeah.
And you can very much tell that Norman Riley Rain wrote one portion, Heinz Harold wrote another portion, and Giza Herzeg put them together.
Right.
Knitted them together, probably with that scene with the books piling up on each other.
That is a weird moment.
It's really odd. It's like, here, he wrote all this shit. We're not going to talk about it. We're not even going to tell you anything about it.
In preparing, I'm
big
preparing
guy.
a video.
He was a good guy.
I'm doing a series on the Best Picture winners, and I'm preparing my video in which I had to actually break down what each of those books were about, because the movie doesn't tell you that.
Mm-mm.
You don't know what is Piping Hot about. You know, what is the what is the
I
Lou
still
about?
don't know.
What is his genius about?
I have the complete works of Emile Zola, and I never really got to it. I never read Nana because that's what I called one of my grandmothers.
Yeah.
And associating it
That's
with
what my mother's called.
with sex work. I was like, yeah. But it's
a good movie. It really is.
It's a fantastic movie, and it's great for the period, and it's very indicative of the time.
It's kind of one of those movies that you sit down and cozy up with on a Sunday afternoon on TCM during that 31 Days of Oscar.
Yeah. When it happens to have come on, and you're like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in a while. It's not educating you with capital E.
I love that it says at the outset, look, he was a real guy. This shit really happened, but everything we're telling you is fictitious because we needed to jazz it up so that you would be entertained. So basically, we're telling you it's fiction, but it really happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that little thing just right at the beginning. It's like, yeah, we're gonna bullshit you, and we don't want you thinking it's true.
But we want you to be entertained by this.
Yeah, a lot of this happened, but not necessarily in the way that we're telling you.
Right. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, me too.
Next week is your choice.
Yeah, and you'll have that when I make it.
We're trying to get back on track. Doing a pretty good job. I'm just about to post our last episode.
I'll have something soon, I'm sure. But that about wraps it up here for us. We are in the midst of reestablishing socials, so until that time passes, we are still just on YouTube. So hit the like, subscribe, notifications buttons there. Let you know when we drop a new episode. We are trying to do those on Tuesdays. So keep an eye out there. Tell your friends, and like I always say, if you don't like us, tell your enemies. Whatever gets us out. We thank you very much for listening, and the pod bay doors are now closed.